Hello and welcome. I know there's a bit of a delay here, but welcome to the 3 Minute Theory webinar. And we're just going to give a minute or so for people to sign in. If you can hear me, just as a test, if you could see the chat on the side, feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're from or what you teach, what subject matter, what subject area, content you teach, what grade level. Just feel free to put that in the comments as you watch, or just hang out, which is totally fine. I'm just waiting for people to join in here, so just give me a minute. And while you're hanging out, just a little recommendation here. Some nice iced coffee. You know what? I try and have it black. I don't know how you like your coffee. I'll have it iced sometimes, which is nice. You know, Keurig has a setting now where you can make like iced coffee, which is awesome. But in any case, guys, if you can see the chat, feel free to type in where you're watching from, what content area you teach or grade level, which would be great. And we're just going to get going here in about a minute. Just waiting for, I see people signing on. That's great to see you. That's awesome. Great, great, great. All right, cool. We're almost ready to go here. And just to give you a little preview also, during this webinar, we're going to go over some of the updates to 3 Minute Theory, or if you've never heard of 3 Minute Theory, this is the perfect webinar for you because I'm going to give you the backstory on 3 Minute Theory. You're going to get to see it in action, and so I'm excited to get going here. So let's just dive in, and if people come in late, that's all right. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Matthew Goronsky. I am, and hey, what's up, Lori? Hey, what's up, Jesse? There come the comments from North Dakota. Hello. Well, I was just about to get to who I am. Again, my name is Matthew Goronsky. I am here in Long Island, New York. I'm a teacher of, I've been teaching long enough to forget, like I kind of lost count of how many years. I think it's around 13 years or so I've been teaching. I teach middle school and high school choir as well as general music. And I love teaching music. We're here with my family of 3 kids here in Long Island, New York. So hey, what's up, Lori from North Dakota, who teaches elementary general music, junior high music appreciation, high school band and choir. Wow, you do it all, Lori. That's great. Hey, Jesse from Pennsylvania teaches middle school general music and high school choir and ensemble. And Alan from, it looks like Colorado, middle school and high school choir. This is great. So even if you're coming in late, feel free to type in your name and where you're from in the chat. But hello and welcome again to our 3 Minute Theory webinar. We're going to go over some of the latest updates to 3 Minute Theory, and I'm going to give you a quick little background. So what's the story? So the story of 3 Minute Theory, I guess it starts with me. I love creating things, and I want to say about 6 or 7 years ago, I started creating digital resources to be used by music teachers online. And I created my own website. And in fact, you know what? Let's jump in here. Let's see if this works here. Give me a second. And let's make sure that this is right here. There we go. And for those of you wondering, this is going to be a little bit of a Canva presentation. So a little backstory about me. So I'm a husband, father of 3 from Long Island, New York. I've taught everything from elementary to middle school to high school. I've got a master's in music ed and administration and educational technology, and currently I teach 7th and 8th grade chorus as well as a high school a cappella choir. And I'm also the choir director for my church, Church of the Good Shepherd in Ozone Park. And so I started my own website several years ago, and the latest resource, or one of the latest resources that I created a couple of years ago was 3 Minute Theory. And the whole idea behind 3 Minute Theory stems from this question: why 3 minutes? And actually, if you travel back in time with me to when I was actually student teaching, I student taught in elementary school, and down the road, I actually had to teach one year of elementary school general music, which was pretty intense, pretty crazy. And I remember when I was teaching this 1 year of elementary general music, I remember that the teacher then told me this little fact that most students can only they can only pay attention for about 1 minute per year old they are. And we had, I think, like a kindergarten class coming in. I remember thinking, man, how long can they even pay attention, right? And so the idea was that you want to break up your lesson, every several minutes. You want to have them look at a different part of the room, do a different activity and stuff. And I remember that. I still remembered it to this day, leading into 3 minute theory. And specifically, I remember you know what I guess my first couple of years of teaching, I would be very adamant about like this is the essential content that I want my students to understand. And we would spend like, okay, today we're going to go over reading notes in the treble clef, and I would really just try and make it as interactive as I can, asking questions, high energy, all using all of the bells and whistles that I could. And we would dedicate that period to it, and then we would go back to our normal rehearsing, and then we would come back a few days later, and I would notice that my students, they weren't really comprehending the material as much as I would like to. And I'm like, what's the issue? Am I trying hard enough? What's the deal? And it comes back again to this question, which is why 3 minutes? And here's the idea. Hopefully, whoever you're teaching in your class is older than 3 years old, meaning they have at least 3 minutes that they could really dedicate to intense focus and intense, absorption of information. And so I decided to create this program called 3 Minute Theory, which has, I guess we want to say, it just exploded, 3 Minute Theory. And it started with just a couple dozen teachers, and now we have hundreds of teachers using this, thousands of music students who are using this, even in other countries and stuff. I think just a couple weeks ago, I had someone reach out from Australia. It's incredible. And so I want to unpack and show you some of the inside of 3 Minute Theory. But again, the idea behind 3 Minute Theory is to just take 3 minutes of any subject matter that you're teaching, whether you're a choir teacher like me, general music teacher like me, band, orchestra, music history, music appreciation, whatever the class is that you're teaching. The idea is you can at least take 3 minutes every class or every other class and spend those 3 minutes on actually understanding the basics, the real foundational elements that will carry over into anything that you do. Now, when I say it only takes 3 minutes, well, as you're going to see, the 3 minute material for a 3 Minute Theory, each chapter is bare minimum 3 minutes, but extends almost up to half to a full period, depending on the activities that you choose to do for each chapter. So it really is a really fantastic thing. And when I say fantastic, when I say fantastic, let me see if is it working here? Oh no, I have a cool setting on Canva. It's supposed to show confetti, but I guess it doesn't work on this setting where confetti explodes. But we do have it in 3 Minute Theory. When I say amazing, it is an amazing program here. So we're going to dive in to the actual 3 Minute Theory. So this is, I'm happy to say this was one of our latest updates. And I see that one of my lights in the background changed, which is interesting here because I think those lights are on Wi-Fi. So I don't know what's going on there, but whatever to keep your attention, right? So when you log into 3 Minute Theory, the first time that we launched the 3 Minute Theory music.com website, it was a little tedious in how you log in, and hearing from teachers and feedback. And oh my goodness, if you're a 3 Minute Theory teacher watching this, thank you so much for the feedback that we've gotten. It's just been like, just to hear encouraging emails like, oh, we're so excited for this program. Like, my students love it. Like, all of that, it just means a lot, because this started as an idea and now it's branching into like entire like music departments from schools, like using it all together to get their students all on the same page. It's really been amazing. And one of the things that we updated that you're going to see in a second is, instead of think about your typical teacher resource subscription, right? You have to log in, and then you have to, share certain codes with students. And then the students have to have their correct login and password information. And I remember doing this myself and literally sometimes I would not be able to teach in a period because whatever subscription or content that I was trying to get the students to use, well, guess what? That content was taking so long to just access the content. So we've made it as fast as possible. As soon as you log into your teacher account for 3 Minute Theory, you're going to have an option to open up this interactive video platform here. And once you open this up, this is where this is our interactive menu for 3 Minute Theory. And as soon as I hit that play button, all of these buttons that you see, whoops, I'm still in the wrong screen, I'm sorry. If you look right here, and let me just, refresh that so you see what I did. As soon as you log in, you have access to this interactive menu here. And I'm going to click play. And here we have all of the chapters, right? Now, if you are watching, depending on when you're watching this, we're in the middle of updating this. You're going to see we have added our most recent chapter, which I'm going to, talk about in a little bit, give you a sneak preview. But what's great about this is you have easy access to any material that you want. So if you happen to be teaching, rhythm today, you can click on rhythm, and then from right here, you can access all of the rhythm volume content. Now each volume, let me go back to the main menu, each volume has 10 chapters. So we actually, we had 50 chapters. Now that means we're up to a total of 60 different chapters, each with a 3-minute lesson, as well as 3 review questions, as well as music education games that line up with each chapter, which is really fantastic. Now also you'll see here, on the bottom, you'll see our latest Rhythm Rumbler, which is another extension to 3 Minute Theory that's included. Now you can purchase a separate subscription to Rhythm Rumbler, but we have a bunch of teachers who are using this as just Rhythm Rumbler and also using it as part of the 3 Minute Theory subscription. And here what we did, this was our latest update for during this school year, where we have 30 different videos of rhythm videos. And let me just, let's click on the most basic one here.
Welcome to Rhythm Rumbler. This rhythm exercise consists of 3 rounds. Be mindful that our tempo will speed up. Feel free to clap, sing along, or perform this on your favorite instrument. 1, 2, ready, here we go.
All right, so I'm going to pause it. So as you can see, it basically, it's a guided rhythm clap along video. But my frustration as a teacher was I would find these great rhythm, clap along videos online, but they were never sequenced. They were just like, here's some random video about eighth notes. Here's a random video about quarter notes. But I wanted to build a logical progression for rhythm play along videos. Now, what I've done with my choirs is we will rotate our sight singing with these rhythm videos, and it's been really great because sometimes when you just have just working on sight reading specifically on rhythm, and then you go into a sight singing or sight reading, if you're a band or orchestra teacher, like that difference is really powerful. And I've noticed that that just focusing just on the rhythm and building it, yesterday we did, Rhythm Rumbler number 5. You think we can handle number 6? My students are motivated. They're ready to go and ready to jump in. So that's been another valuable piece to 3 Minute Theory that we've added. And I mean, the overall content that you have in 3 Minute Theory, it's massive. So you have Rhythm Rumbler here, and you have all of these different volumes. And we're going to get to our most recent music history volume, which you don't see here, but depending when you're watching this, may already be live. But let's just, as a quick explainer here, this is your typical lesson. So let's start with the very first lesson. Let's say it's day 1, you're starting your students. This is a good kind of explanation to how 3 Minute Theory works. So check this out.
Every 3 Minute Theory lesson begins with 3 review questions based on the previous lesson. If you select an incorrect answer to a question, you will watch a video explanation of how that answer is wrong, as well as advice on how to find the correct answer. Once the correct answer is selected, the next question will play. And once all 3 questions are correctly answered, the 3 Minute Theory lesson will begin. Since this is the first lesson and there is nothing to review, let's start with a basic music theory question. What is the next letter of the musical alphabet that is higher than the note A? What is the next letter of the musical alphabet that is higher than the note A?
All right, so to be very clear, you see these different options. So the way this would usually work is I mostly use 3-minute theory to project in front of my class. But you can also use 3-minute theory as assignments for Google Classroom, which I'm going to show to you in a little bit. But if I was typically projecting this in front of my class, I want to show you just a really cool way of how I've built this into the structure of what I teach day in, day out. Just to see, let's imagine that what you're watching right now, this is projected in front of the classroom, and one of the students answers the question, oh, what comes after, what's higher than the note A? And yes, this is a very easy question because it's supposed to just teach them the basics. But what happens if they selected the wrong answer here?
No, I think you might have been thinking backwards in this case. We want to think from left to right in the musical alphabet, in the same way our regular alphabet works. So the musical alphabet is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it keeps going A, B, C in a continuous cycle. So in this case, G is actually going to be before A or lower than A in the musical alphabet. The next note in the musical alphabet would be from left to right. So what note comes next in the musical alphabet?
And here we see the power of 3-minute theory is the fact that if you select an incorrect note, you just watched a video that was explaining why that answer is incorrect, so that when you do select the correct answer...
Yep, that is correct. The next note above A is B.
You get, even with an answer that's correct, you still get that video that's explaining why that answer is correct. Because I don't know if you're like me, but one of my things that I'm always sensing with my students is, do they really understand this, or are they just guessing? Because it's possible just to guess, right? And get the right answer. I don't want my students to guess. I want them to really understand the foundational elements of music, no matter what ensemble or music class that they're in. And that's really, this is one of the most powerful things. And there's nothing else out there like this, where you have right and wrong answers to every bit of content that you're teaching. And the thing that I really love about this is, again, it dissuades students from just merely guessing. And I took that a step farther, which, again, this is completely optional, but this is something for fun that I do with my own classes. I'm a competitive person. I love sports. I play basketball every weekend that I can. I got 3 kids at home, so I'm not able to be out too often, but we got some friends from my church, and we often play basketball. I love being competitive. And what I decided to do is I kind of built this into the structure here, which you're going to see right here. This is an idea that I incorporated called the point challenge. And I use this pretty much every single day in my class with 3-minute theory. So what is this point challenge? Again, it's just a way to use 3-minute theory, but it's a motivational tool where one section receives the point of the day, specifically at the end of class. Now, how do they eventually earn this 1 point? Well, we keep score during the class. And what do we keep score based upon? We keep score based upon these questions that students are answering in 3-minute theory. So there's 3 review questions. And actually, you know what? Let's select a different lesson. Or you know what? Let's just go on to
the musical alphabet continues.
Actually, and one of the things that you can do is you can skip through the video here. I'm just going to go into the next question here.
All right, let's talk about some of...
It would automatically go to the next question, and then you would answer those 3 questions. So what I do with this point challenge that you can see right here is I will take this point challenge, and as the students answer the 3 review questions for the 3-minute theory lesson, I will keep score. And for me, I have sopranos, altos, and tenors for my middle school groups, and we'll keep score. And at the end of the day, whichever team has the most points will get the point of the day. And yes, I do have it so that 5 points, it's just a continual accruing of points, so that once that section earns 5 points, the whole section gets candy. And yes, I run through candy frequently, but you know what? It's a motivational tool. It adds some fun to it. and it encourages students to, like I was showing with these questions, it encourages students to want to participate and not just guess at the right answer. The competition, if done rightly, can really encourage a positive attitude for learning, which I really I think I've learned that by using 3-minute theory, which has been really great. So we have all of that in 3-minute theory. And I just want to show you probably one of, this has got to be, I think it's one of the favorite things of 3-minute theory. Yes, there is the 3-minute lessons. There's there's the video explanations for right and wrong answers. There's Rhythm Rumbler, but there's also interactive music games, which have been fantastic. Now, I know teachers out there have used Kahoots. There's been other games that are fun too. But here's the thing. We are upping our total to 175 content-specific music games. What? So maybe you found that little app on your phone that like, oh, this is nice. They can learn how to read treble clef notes. Okay, that's great. But it's just a standalone game, right? There's very few, if any, music websites that have music games that are calibrated specifically to the content. So what I mean by that is this. So we're going to go back into, this is the, again, the interactive menu this is basically once you log into your teacher account, you access everything from here. And I'm going to select the music education games, and notice I can select the music education games by volume. So if I want to do, okay, I want to do some music games for music literacy. Well, now this is going to bring up the music literacy volume of music education games. And they're organized by chapter. So let's say we were just looking at that lesson for chapter 1, and we just went through, learning about the difference between treble clef and bass clef and musical staff. Well, now they can play a game. But for each chapter, there's 3 different games on the same content. So it just kind of keeps it fresh. So if, let's say, they finish one game and you still want them to review, they can play the next game or another game or a game of their choice. And again, they're organized by chapter, as you can see. So it's just a vast collection of these games. And my students have really loved these games. And it's almost like, unfortunately, my youngest son, who's 1 year old or 1.5, he got sick. And then my 3-year-old, or she just turned 4-year-old, she got sick too. And they were both on antibiotics. And my wife was really great at, basically taking the antibiotics and putting it in like this little syringe. But she realized that, if she gives a berry, to my son, he'll open his mouth for the berry, and then she, squirts in the antibiotics there. And that works really well. And that's almost like what these music games do, is it's like, you know what, you're even my, the students that look like they just don't want to be there, or they're completely checked out and unmotivated, you give them a music game and you say, maybe you even say, hey, you know what, I'm going to give candy out to the highest score. They're locked in. And also, I should mention, where I teach, they're 1-to-1 right now in Chromebooks. And all of this content really works fantastic on Chromebooks. It should work on iPads as well. Pretty much any device that has a Wi-Fi connection, it works fantastic. And just to show you, just a real quick glimpse at one of these games here. So this is that page that we're on. So I'm going to click the start. And I'm going to play this game basically just by using the keyboard on my computer here. All right, so how many spaces are on the musical staff? Ooh, a tricky one. So, and I'm using the arrows here to move back and forth. And it's kind of like Pac-Man here. All right, 4 spaces, I got that right. And so I'm answering questions. Now the next question is going to pop up, and you kind of get the hang of it. So what is the treble clef used for? Oh, I got to read this. It's probably used for higher notes, so I'm going to try and get over there. And as you go through the levels, it gets a little bit more difficult, but you kind of get the hang of it, right? And so I'm going to just mute this here. There's a whole bunch of different games. The airplane one, I like this one, where you're controlling an airplane to answer questions. And again, I'm just using the arrow keys on my keyboard here. So flying to the correct, how many parts are in this system, and it looks like, oh, looks like there's 4 there. There we go. And you see just by kind of, I'm just using the up and down buttons on my keyboard to, oh, I crashed into the wrong cloud. So let's mute this one as well. And so you see you get the idea. There's a bunch of games, and to be specific, that's a total of 175 games. And if you do the math, there's basically 3 games for every chapter in 3-Minute Theory, and now we're upping. So I guess, wow, it would be up to 180 games because we're going to have 6 volumes. Which brings me, if you guys are, if there's any 3-Minute Theory teachers who happen to be watching this, that means our latest volume, the music history volume, is going to be launching sooner. Depending when you're watching this, may already be live, and the music history volume, I'm going to encourage you, you should be able to see this on this webinar. There should be a button where you can download our most recent PDF curriculum summary. And if you look through that curriculum summary, you will see the list. And boy, is it a list of a whole bunch of, and actually, you know what, let me bring it up here so we can kind of go over it together. There's a long list of all of the new chapters that we added for the music history section, and it is here. Let me just bring it up here. I'm actually gonna bring it up in Canva here. Actually, yeah. And so if you look at our latest, maybe while you're downloading or clicking that button there, I'm just gonna bring it up on my screen so we could see it here. And here we go. So we have the history of sound, and oh man, I'm excited about, I think this is some of the best content that we've created. Just the videos and the images, everything that we've used in this volume is just, man, I don't want to overstate it, but I want to say it's like some of the best like content on music education, because like I feel like if you watch your typical maybe you found a good music history documentary on YouTube, and this is the problem that I think most music teachers are dealing with right now, is there's so much content that's out there. Yes, could you find a specific YouTube video on this particular topic? Yeah, but then the drawback is, well, I like this part of this video, but I don't like that part of this video, and it's a little too long, and I don't like what they say here, and blah, 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 blah. We really keep it concise, and it's just boom. I would call it almost a high intensity workout version of music education, in that you have 3 minutes of really targeted information that's given in a really visible, interesting way that students really get attached to. And as you go through, as you take a look through here, so we have the history of sound, which explains the science behind how do we hear what we hear, how do vibrations work, and all of that, which is a really great introduction into all of this. And then we go into the history of music notation. Where did music notation come from? All the way back to good old Guido of Arezzo, and how he came up with the 4 lines of the musical staff, which evolved into 5 lines. Then we have the major music history periods here: the medieval period, the Renaissance, Baroque, classical, romantic. And I will say this, even as someone who this is something that I would probably focus more on, like my general music classes, this section. However, I know that I'm going to be going through these, and this is what's great about 3-Minute Theory is it's whatever fits your content area. If your context is more like a general music class, well, this is a perfect volume for you. 3-Minute Theory is designed so that you can jump back and forth. That's what I like to do, actually, is I will rotate usually between 2 different volumes that I'm going through at a particular point of the year. So maybe let's say I'm working on the rhythm literacy, and maybe I'm working on a music history, section. And one day we'll do a rhythm lesson, and then the other day we'll do a music history lesson. And the cool thing is, when you go to the very next chapter, the way it's designed for 3-Minute Theory is the first 3 questions that you go through are reviewing the previous chapter. So it's a great way to review long-term, to really harness their long-term memory potential, where it's not just, because and we've had teachers ask us this, why just have, can we just have the review questions at the end of the chapter? And of course you can just click on the next chapter and get the next set of review questions, but we like spacing it out because it's a good way, again, to facilitate that long-term really absorption of music content. And just to go through the rest here for our music history section, we have, so you have the main periods here, the history of the choir, the history of the orchestra, the history of the band, which is really great because if you're like me, and you're in a school that we have a band, an orchestra, and a choir, and a general music. Those are like our main classes, at least at the middle school. The choir doesn't really think about the band. The band doesn't, maybe you think about the choir or the orchestra, whatever the case is. And this is a great way for them to see full on, like, oh, like this is where these ensembles kind of came from and how they're similar in how they, evolved over, the centuries and stuff. It's just it's a fantastic volume. And again, we're going to be adding music games for this whole volume. And so this is a very quick introduction to 3-Minute Theory. But if you've stayed on this long, and you know what, let me get back to the chat here, see if I've missed. Oh, wow, we got a bunch more here. That's great. Oh, wow. Hey, Dan's got a few high school choirs from Wisconsin. That's great. Wow, congratulations, Lori. 25th year as a music teacher. That's amazing. That's fantastic. 29th year, Julie. Oh my goodness. Wow. Brenda, 25th. Man, you guys, wow. That is fantastic. All right, and I'm glad. Oh, you're excited to start using it. That's great, Lori. That's awesome to hear. So about, Lori just mentioned that her school purchased it for her. So I do want to mention that we do accept purchase orders, and it's a really fast turnaround. And the way we do it is whenever we'll get an email for a purchase order, we will send you out a PDF quote right to your email. Or you could have your secretary do it. Once they get the quote, as soon as we know that the purchase order is approved, we don't even wait for payment. We send you access. It's super fast. So if you're looking to use a purchase order, that's great. But also, I want to mention, if you are watching this webinar on 3minutetheorymusic.com, you should be able to see there's a special 15% off code if you scroll down towards the bottom of this window right now, and that's just for you, just for sticking it out through this through this webinar. So if you have any other questions, my best advice is to reach out to us, either myself or whoever will answer this email, team@3minutetheorymusic.com, team@3minutetheorymusic.com, if you have any questions. But we're excited. And also you know what, I'm wrapping this up and I forgot to mention one of probably the most powerful things. We are working on taking all of this. So you have all of these interactive videos and stuff. You saw the interactive menu here, which you see, and you know what, let me just bring it back here. So what we're working on right now, and this again, depending when you're watching this, it may already be live, is we are taking this to the next step. As you can see, we have these links here, and all of these links are basically, they're shareable links, because the way our license works, and it's probably one of the most, the biggest value, one of the largest values of 3-Minute Theory, if I could put it that way, is the fact that, if there's other subscriptions, and this was always frustrating to me, where you have to pay for seats, they call it. So, maybe you pay for a teacher license and then you have to pay for a student license. And my thing is, like, sometimes, like, for example, my most recent, I think it's my 7th grade course, 80 students in one section. Okay. They're split in half. So there's like 160 of them in total. The idea of me following up with passwords and logins for 80, it's insane. So what you can do is, the easiest way, I would say, the easiest way would be just to show this right here, right? Where I have this projected up and say, okay, guys, we're going to do the first one here. And the students literally just type in this link into their Chromebook or whatever their device is, and they can instantly access this chapter, right? Now, of course, you can also, because it's an interactive video, you can just click on it and that would instantly open up that first chapter if you're projecting it in front of the class. But these B-links, what we're going to do is we're trying to take this to the next level and also include an instant link so that you can post this to your Google Classroom. Because one thing I forgot to mention, every chapter of 3-Minute Theory comes with self-grading Google Forms. So we already have this so that you can download all these Google Forms, and what you can do is you can assign chapters, right? You can, let's say you're going to be out, you have a substitute coming in. You can leave all of this information and make an assignment on Google Classroom or Canvas or whatever LMS system that you happen to be using, and it's just set it and forget it, right? Which is really, really great. But we're also going to be, we're trying to basically add a button so that you can click it. So there would be a certain icon that you would click on a specific part of a chapter, and it would basically open up that window in your Google Classroom to create that Google Class assignment, which is really cool. So we're always working on updating it. Like I mentioned Rhythm Rumbler before. We had a Rhythm Rumbler championship, which was so cool. We had teachers from different schools sending in these videos of their students performing one of the Rhythm Rumblers, and I actually personally just emailed out trophies and sweatshirts out to the winning teachers, and that's just so cool. We're creating a culture here at 3-Minute Theory that's more than just a 3-minute lesson. It's the value of knowing that you're creating a culture of students who are excited to learn about music. That works for any content area. It really does fit for any content area. And so we're excited. Again, we have such a tremendous community here. And I just want to thank you even just for watching this webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to reach us at team@3minutetheorymusic.com. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Purchase orders are no problem. And don't forget, if you are interested, try out that 15% off deal that you see in this webinar, because that's we're not advertising that anywhere else. That's just in this webinar as a thank you for watching. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And that's it. And we're excited. I'm going into this webinar, I knew that oh man, this is all these cool things that we have coming out. Like even just hearing me talk about it, it's just giving me more excitement to use this with my students, because I know what a powerful tool this is. So spread the word. If you're a 3-Minute Theory teacher, talk to that other teacher in your school, because that's what we're noticing as a trend. It seems like more teachers are kind of deciding to do it within a same school building. So we're doing, oh man, I know I keep adding on information, but if you're still watching, still curious, our district is doing this whole curriculum mapping thing, where it's just this big, educational initiative, fill in the blank here, that they, this new educational initiative they have every couple of years. But what they're trying to do is basically trying to get us all on the same page and what we're teaching content wise, which is, that's an honorable pursuit. But I'm just thinking for what we're seeing with other teachers are doing, is they're having several teachers, let's say all of the music teachers in their specific building are teaching this same content and teaching it concurrently, so that the students year to year are progressing together. And which is really valuable. We've seen this used in students, everything from elementary school all the way through middle school, high school. This content is, I would say it really fits the pocket of late elementary through early high school. So if you're watching this and you teach one of those subjects and you're interested in this, again, team@3minutetheorymusic.com. Click any of the links below in the webinar. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.